Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my probably the first video that's gonna be on the channel. So today, I don't know if y'all are tuned into the CDL, but we're gonna have the grand finals, or no, champs, starting on Thursday. Grand finals will be Sunday, so it's gonna go Thursday, Friday, Saturday of elimination rounds, and then it goes to Sunday where it's gonna be one match, and that's gonna be the grand finals of the Black Ops 7 season. So, I'm gonna tell you all my predictions, and we'll go. Starting it off, we have Texas, Miami. We have Texas versus Miami, Mates versus Toronto, LAT versus Falcons, FaZe Vegas versus Minnesota, or G2 Minnesota. So, so out of those matches, I don't think there's gonna be many upsets this tournament. I think it's gonna be pretty straightforward because of the last couple tournaments we have seen that they have two or three teams that are kind of two, three, maybe even four teams that are kind of ahead of the rest in terms of just what they've been able to do on land. It's kind of all the same four teams, and I think we all know them. That's Texas Mates, LAT, and FaZe. So in the round one, it's Texas versus Miami. I have Texas winning in a 3-0. I think that Miami on land has probably been the worst team on land this year. I mean, they've been so bad on land. They've done absolutely nothing on land, really. Some of them have them moving on to the second round. So, and then you got Mates versus Toronto. I have Mates winning in a 3-1, same fashion. I think this one is one of the ones that could be upsettable. If there is one in the first round to upset, this would probably be the one most likely to because these teams have had close matches in the past. But yeah, I do have Toronto losing, and I have Mates winning in a 3-1 because I feel like Mates are just kind of better than them right now by a lot. They're just gonna skill diff them. And first of all, I don't think Joe Deceives is gonna let his old team beat him like that. So moving on, LAT versus Riyadh Falcons. I have this. I know Riyadh's been so awful at playing on land this year, but I mean, I have them having a close run. LAT has not looked as good as I wanted them to. Like I'm not. I am an Optic fan, but I'm my second team that I want to win is LAT. But they haven't looked that good in hard point, and I think that Riyadh could really punish them in hard points. I think Riyadh could win a hard point, but I think they would lose eventually. So I just don't see a world where LAT is going to lose, but I think it will be a good series. I think LAT wins that one though, 3-2. All right, so then we got FaZe Vegas, Minnesota. FaZe Vegas has looked pretty good as of the last couple of events. Now, obviously, scrims haven't looked very good because they lost to the Bush a couple times. As long as LAT lost a lot of hard points to the Bush, which I don't know about that. And also, FaZe has looked pretty bad at search, pretty bad at search. And so, I don't know. I think FaZe will be G2 just because G2 just doesn't have nearly the amount of skill that FaZe has, and I just feel like FaZe is definitely the better team. FaZe will win that one, and then we'll move on to round two. All right. So then we're gonna go to the elimination round one. So the first match will be Miami versus Toronto. I'm gonna put Miami losing 3-2 and Toronto taking that. Toronto has been slightly better on land. I mean, outside of this last major, they've been decent on land, I guess you could say. So I feel like Toronto's gonna outclass them by a slight margin. Now Miami, I don't think it's that Toronto's good. I just think it's Miami is the worst team on land probably. They're so bad. So I think they're gonna have an early exit Miami, and yeah. So then you got Riyadh versus Minnesota. This will be a really, really, really interesting series. I think that this could go either way. Um, I'm gonna lean towards Minnesota though. I think Minnesota will win in a 3-2. I just think Riyadh has been way, way, way too bad on land to put them comfortably ahead. So I'm gonna put Minnesota ahead of them in a 3-2, and they will move on to round two. Then we go on the winners round two. We have Texas versus Mates. Texas has had their number pretty insanely on land. I think it's been 3-0 of the last two times on land that they've had, and I feel like they just got Mates' number in Search and Destroy, hardpoint, and overload. They just kind of dominate mates most of the time. But I don't think it's gonna be as easy. I think mates will make adjustments, but I will have mates winning. I mean, no, I will have Texas winning in a 3-1 over mates. Okay, and then we have LAT versus FaZe Vegas. I got a hot take for this one. I think that LAT is probably gonna be favored a lot in this matchup. I'm gonna say FaZe. I think FaZe gets their revenge. They've had a really close few matches on LAN. Every match they've had, I'm pretty sure, is going down to game 5 or close to it. So yeah, they've had really good matches. They should have won the last one against them. It went down all the way down to round 11 S&D where they kind of choked. I think they were up 5-2 or 5-3, and then they sold and they lost it all to the Thieves. Yeah, it was a bad situation, but I think FaZe will pull it off in a 3-2 and send Thieves to the loser bracket. All right, and then so we'll have the elimination round 2. LAT versus Toronto. I think this is gonna be breezy for LAT. I think they will lose the hard point, but it will end in a 3-1 for LAT to win. All right, and then Mates versus Minnesota. I feel like Mates have been just slightly better in Minnesota in every way. I don't know. I think Minnesota has been kind of better than Mates at like S&D maybe, but like even their S&D versus Optic looked pretty bad. So I'm gonna say that Mates have a comfortable 3-1 win right here. Okay, and then we got our final 4 teams: Texas, FaZe, LAT, and Mates. And I think this is pretty much undisputed, like what everybody thinks it will look like come, I think, Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. So we have Texas versus FaZe Vegas. So I think that Texas is gonna be favored a lot right here. I think Texas is much better than FaZe right now. FaZe just don't look very consistent. You could get, like, if you get a good FaZe where 04's shooting, Simp shooting, and the Zaza boys are doing what they were doing last week or last major, you could have a team that takes down Optic. But right now, as it stands, I will have to see how they look. But I take Optic in a 3-1. I think that Optic will get the job done. It's gonna be a good matchup, but I do take Optic over them. Then we have LAT versus Mates in the losers bracket. I have LAT winning in a 3-2, knocking Mates out of the tournament. I don't know. I just feel like LAT's look better all year. No, not all year, but as of the last like 2 months or whatever it has been since LAT started to heat up a little bit since Major 3 or since Major 3. Yeah, so I think LAT just look better. I think most people would say it's LAT. I think that Mates are probably a little stronger in hard points, but outside of that, I feel like LAT is significantly better than them. I think that's a pretty easy one. And FaZe Vegas versus LAT elimination finals. I have another hot take for this one. I take FaZe Vegas in a 3-2. I feel like FaZe is going to come out. Their main target is this tournament is probably going to be LAT because they lose to LAT like pretty much every tournament. So I feel like they're definitely trying to practice enough to get better at beating LAT, and I think they're gonna come out and beat them 2-0 this weekend, and they're gonna knock LAT out of the competition. Then we go on to a grand final, best of 9, Texas versus FaZe Vegas. Another hot take. Well, not really a hot take. I think this is kind of it's pretty obvious. Well, it's not obvious, but I mean, I feel like most people would say the same thing. I have Optic Texas kind of dominating them in a 5-2. They're going to come out. I think Optic Texas is going to win the first 3 maps. They might lose the next 2. And then I feel like they're going to close it out with 2 more. I don't know. Let me know what y'all guys think. I don't know. This is a hit or miss. I don't know. We'll have to see come Sunday. But I mean, I'm excited, boys. I'm excited. Can't wait. All right. Peace.